One of the things in the film Oppenheimer that's out in theaters now goes into is how Robert Oppenheimer, in the early part of his career, he was being tailed by the FBI. And what the FBI would do, the movie alleged, was they would go to meetings where communists would be, and the FBI would take down all the license plates of the attendees of those meetings. So obviously, capturing license plates has long been something that is a tool of law enforcement to gather intelligence on a variety of things. While license plate technology, the reading of them is advanced now to where you've got automatic license plate readers, and they're being implemented all over the place, including here in Springfield. I'm seeing them pop up all over. You've got private companies that are installing them at malls or at casinos. You've got, them being set up on major thoroughfares. Illinois State Police have similar types of cameras up in the Chicago area. Yesterday, they held a news conference down in the Metro East talking about an increased number of license plate readers. Here is State Senator Christopher Belt from down in the Metro East area, during a news conference with Illinois State Police yesterday, talking about license plate reading technology and how advanced it is and how it's going to help them crack down on crime. Here is Senator Belt.
These devices provide rapid and accurate identification of suspects while allowing law enforcement to take immediate actions, and that their movements are being monitored closely by these automated systems. Criminals may deter from engaging in illicit activities on expressways. It is a crime deterrent. So today is really a monumental day in the Metro East. It's a monumental day in Illinois because, again, we're here to talk about a game changer.
So, a game changer, he says. The chief of police for East St. Louis, Kendall Carey, says same.
Reference to these LPRs, at a time now where crimes on the highway, crimes committed by vehicles, stolen vehicles are on a rise, this is a key component into deterring a lot of the major crimes in our community. As we move ourselves towards the 21st century with technology, this is going to be, as they said, a game changer for this area.
So the Illinois State Police Director, Brendan Kelly, was with that group, and he talked about the tools and took some questions. Here he is.
The statute that created the Tamara-Clayton Act that funds the license plate readers in the state of Illinois, it is very strict about how this data can be used. So this is limited to the most serious offenses. This is not for traffic enforcement. This is not a tool used to catch people speeding, okay? That's not what the technology can be used for. And the statute, as well as our administrative rules and our policies within the Illinois State Police, have very strict rules about how long these records are retained, and we can provide the specifics to you. But this is not retained in perpetuity. There's all types of privacy protections built in, and again, it's limited and focused to gun, drug, human trafficking, violent crime, things that the public absolutely expects law enforcement to be focused on and to be using these very effective tools for. So it's focused. It has appropriate protections in terms of privacy and civil liberties, and we want to make sure that those protections are sustained because we want this tool to continue to be around and be effective. And I'm sure anybody with a keen eye can drive around and see them. And frankly, we're not, the message here today is not about hiding them. We want the public to know that these tools are out there. And in particular, we want to know anybody that's thinking about being involved in crime or committing some act of violence to know that we will use these tools. They are out here, and we will find you, and you will be held accountable for the crimes that you're committing here. So don't come here with your violent activity. Don't bring your crimes to this community. This tool is there, and we're not hiding it because we want to send that deterrent message. Don't bring your crime here. Just so you know how we're using this technology, it's not just to identify suspects. It's also to be able to identify potential witnesses that may have been in the area, so we can contact them and say, hey, we see that you were in close proximity to this particular shooting at a certain time. did you see anything? People sometimes see things, particularly on the interstates, and they're not even sure what it is that they saw. They go on about their lives. They drive around on the interstate. They may be another state away. We can use that technology to identify them, reach out to them to see what kind of information we can get. So the initial round of the expressway cameras that went up in the Chicago area a couple of years ago was about 12.5 million. It's in the press release. In the fiscal year, the most recent fiscal year, in the governor's budget, provided 20 million for expanding the camera program to 21 counties in the state of Illinois. So we've started here, and we're working with other counties to roll out these license plate readers. But we started here in Madison County and St. Clair due to just the nexus of the interstate 64, 70, 55, 255. It's a ripe location to be able to use these tools.
So again, Illinois State Police Director Brendan Kelly there really breaking down how they are allowed to use these cameras and the importance of setting up these license plate reading cameras in a variety of places. I would love to hear your thoughts on this. 217-629-7970. That's the phone number. We'll get to your calls coming up. But we'll also hear from Governor J.B. Pritzker yesterday, who talked about what he's doing to increase public safety. There was a question he was asked about during a forum yesterday with the Lincoln Forum up in Chicago. So we'll hear the governor talk about public safety and get your phone calls as well. Again, 217-629-7970. That's the phone number here with Springfield's Morning News on 92.7 WMAY, Springfield's News and Talk. Your thoughts of the increased use of license plate reading technology, cameras set up in key locations to capture all license plates coming in and out of areas. Major thoroughfares set up on interstates down in the Metro East area, set up on interstates around Chicagoland area. Casinos, shopping malls, city of Springfield's got these set up in various areas. I'm seeing them. Even right down the street here in Riverton, I see what appears to be a newly installed camera of sorts. So we're seeing this proliferate all over the place, and concerns, of course, from civil libertarian groups saying that this is all going to be cataloged and compartmentalized into certain areas, and it could be used possibly to, go after individuals for things that people didn't really realize were an issue. So one thing that Illinois has done is they've carved out the possibility of using license plate reading cameras to track out-of-state vehicles coming into Illinois for abortions. So that's one thing that police cannot use license plate reading cameras for. But State Police Director Brendan Kelly assuring people that the cameras are only going to be used for the most serious of offenses. But you could see how this could possibly lead to somewhat of a Big Brother type of situation where, you go to a certain political gathering that's not favorable of the government and you question the legitimacy of the government, and then all of a sudden you're on a list somewhere, and if you show up with a bunch of other license plates at a meeting that the government knows is a government that's a meeting that's critical of the government, are you going to be put on a list even further, and then you're tracked even further? So license plate reading cameras, obviously a concern for civil libertarians. I'd love to hear from you at 217-629-7970. Your thoughts on that. But Governor J.B. Pritzker, he was asked yesterday up in Chicago during a forum his plans to combat crime and to keep the streets safe. Of course, this 45-minute conversation at the Lincoln Forum touched on, the state's economy and all of this. So we'll hear what the governor's plans are to keep the state safe. But of course, I want to get your phone calls at 217-629-7970. Good morning. You're on WMAY.
I got to laugh every time they say, we're only going to use this for this. If you recall, it's kind of before your time, but when they come out with the seatbelt law, they said, we will never pull you over as a primary offense for a seatbelt violation. Now, they do it all the time.
Yeah, it's so it's the argument of the camel getting its nose under the tent.
Right, exactly. So if you've been around a while and you followed laws and stuff, same way on the gun laws, it's like, no, I don't believe anything you tell me, because then the next guy's going to go, well, yeah, but I wasn't in office when they said that.
Yeah, it's also known as mission creep, which is something that obviously is a concern for people when they hear somebody say, oh, we're not going to use it for that. Well, what about 5 years from now? 217-629-7970. Good morning.
Hey, Greg, how are you?
Good. Yourself?
Not too bad. Recently took a family trip to Norway.
Nice.
They have license plate readers everywhere.
Yeah.
And I was talking to the bus driver about it. The way they do it, you pass one. If you get to the next one too fast, you automatically get that ticket in the mail or actually just charged to your account. So that could be something they could use down the road. I was like, wow.
Well, listen, Brendan Kelly said this isn't going to be used for speeding violations and, things like that. He says it's only going to be used for severe crimes like kidnapping or car thefts or, trying to track a suspected shooter of sorts or something along those lines. But you in another country saw it firsthand that it's used for even the most small things.
Yeah.
Like speeding.
And he told me that originally it was not to be used for that. He said it took about 5 years.
Unbelievable. Yeah, somebody on YouTube says Trojan horse. So we'll see what happens there.
Have a great day.
I appreciate it. Interesting perspective there. 217-629-7970 is the phone number if you want to call in and share your thoughts of the use of license plate reading technology to go after severe crimes in Illinois. Governor J.B. Pritzker was asked yesterday about safety during a forum up in Chicago. Here's that, about 3 minutes worth.
But clearly one of the parts that matters to the state, in addition to the fiscal situation, which is improved so much in this offense agenda to go win in these federal bills, is really making sure we're doing the right things from a safety perspective. And so the question I have is, what's the state's plan to deal with the ongoing worsening police officer recruitment and retention issues in our state?
So I don't know anybody that's in business today or in government today that isn't experiencing a workforce shortage or a challenge in hiring. And so I'll just start with, we're competing in every which way as a state and in positions like public safety with every other industry that's, basically paying people more, attracting them into their industry. It's a real competitive environment out there. And that's no different in public safety. There are people who want to make that out to be, that's because of some condition in Illinois. People don't want to work in Illinois. No. Call up any of your friends who are in public safety in any state, and they will tell you it is hard to hire. It just is. Now, let me say, very important that we do hire. I happen to think in the city of Chicago we need more police. And as a governor, one thing that I have worked very hard on since I came into office was the glaring reduction of Illinois State Police that we had in the years prior to my becoming governor. And then we had this upcoming, we're now in it, bubble of people who were hired 25 years ago or 20 to 25 years ago. Now they're eligible to retire. There's it's the snake that swallowed the pig. So we have a lot of people retiring. So I knew in 2019 we needed to start dealing with that. So we have hired many more state police since 2019 than we did really in the 20 years prior, because I really think, that it's very, very important for us to have personnel. Is that the only answer to public safety? Absolutely not. We have to invest in our communities, and particularly the communities that have the highest rates of poverty, the communities, I use the term left out and left behind, but it is really true. We need investment in those communities, and we've been doing that, though not at a high enough rate. And I know that the new mayor of Chicago is focused on that as well. But what are we doing to hire police? Everything you can think of. I'm now at a point where, we have hired, by the way, we haven't more police at the state level than we have had in years. And I'm proud of that fact. We also need that at the municipal level all across the state. So as far as I'm concerned, we should be offering the right benefits and pay. I just concluded a contract with the unions for the state. They're getting a raise. We need that, all across, because frankly, pay has gone up and benefits have improved. And we need to keep up with that in order to attract people into this very difficult line of work. They need to be rewarded properly.
So again, Governor J.B. Pritzker talking about, making sure that police officers are paid more and there's better recruitment efforts. And he heralds having more Illinois State Police under his control than in previous years. So that's just an idea of what the governor says he's doing to enforce the law and keep the streets safe, he says. While you see up in Chicago an increase of violent crime of 35% over the past year. I think if you look at the statistics from Chicago Police Department, it shows that there's been like a 70+% increase in violent crime over the past 3 years. So obviously there's ongoing concerns about violent crime in the state of Illinois and in Chicago. Will license plate reading technology address that? 217-629-7970. Got just about a moment left here if you want to sound off, or you can email bishoponair@gmail.com or find me live on YouTube or on the segmented clips here. You can comment anytime. Bishop on Air. Search it out. Like, subscribe, do all that. Email me, bishoponair@gmail.com. Follow me on Twitter. Follow me on YouTube. Follow me on Facebook. Just search Bishop on Air. And if you missed anything from today, I mean, gosh, sometimes I just listen. I do this myself. I do this entire show myself, the entire thing myself. Planning, interviews, scheduling guests, switching videos, but we did a ton today, including, and just to recap some of what we've covered and go back and find these segments on YouTube. We talked with attorney Thomas Magg, who was the first to file litigation against Illinois' gun and magazine ban. He shared with us he is planning on filing a separate lawsuit challenging the gun and magazine ban on Fifth Amendment grounds while we still wait for the Second Amendment case out of the Seventh Circuit Court of Appeals. We talked about some other litigation concerning firearm laws in Illinois. We also shared with you a conversation I had with Kenneth Maley. He is an individual, an electrical engineer out of Chicago, and he filed a case with allegations of conflicts of interest against two Illinois Supreme Court justices who received campaign contributions from Governor J.B. Pritzker before they were elected, and now they're on the bench determining the outcome of some pretty high-profile cases. So Kenneth Maley, he shared with us his thoughts there. We talked about unemployment fraud, and the $5.2 billion the Auditor General found was overpaid from Illinois' unemployment tax funds, including $46 million of that going to those who are incarcerated and those who are dead. So we heard some reaction there. Also, we asked you what was the most important story from yesterday. All the evidence stacking up against Hunter Biden or the UFO hearing. So it was good to hear from people on that as well. But you can find those and more. Again, just follow me anywhere. Bishop on Air, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. Great way to do it is to just subscribe to YouTube, and you can stay up to date and hit the notification bell whenever something's posted. All right. Stay tuned. We got more.